Stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll get a feedback. All right, I will be turning the meeting over now to Dr. O'Shea, Superintendent of Schools, for the reorganization.
All right, thank you. My apologies for not being able to be with you in person. I'm over at the Long Meadow Adult Center in preparation for our middle school forum shortly after this meeting. So this is the time annually where it is my responsibility to lead the reorganization of the school committee, specifically entertain motions for the position of chair, vice chair, and clerk. Included in your meeting packet is policy BDA, and policy BDA explains the requirements for reorganizing the school committee following an annual election. And the policy, we should note, would only allow our current chair, Nicole Chenier, to continue on as chair if there were a vacancy in any of the roles that we will discuss. So at this point, I would entertain a motion for the position to nominate someone as chair of the Long Meadow School Committee for the 24-25 school year. And again, if oh.
I move to nominate Nicole Chenier to be the chair of the school committee.
All right. We have a nomination, Nicole Chenier for chair of the Long Meadow School Committee. And is there a second on that nomination?
Second.
There is a second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. I will note that, again, this would only be permissible if there is an interim vacancy. In other words, if there is no other committee member who is in a position to accept a nomination for the chairpersonship. And so at this point, I'd open it up for discussion to see if there's any other potential interest in the chair role.
I can one for say I am not interested in it, and I am very much do not have the time or the availability to be able to do it. So I am not interested. I will say that from my standpoint. And sorry, I have a bad internet connection, which was why I was struggling to get on. So I apologize for that. So.
Right, assuming we have no other nominations, then I would suggest that indicates we do have an interim vacancy, and it would allow us to accept the nomination of Nicole Chenier as chair of the Long Meadow School Committee for the 24-25 school year. And so, assuming there's no further discussion and seeing none, I will put it out to a roll call vote. Mr. Hench?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenblum?
Yay.
Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
And Mr. Veridin?
Yes.
All right, we have a motion and we have a successful Nicole Chenier, I'm sorry.
Abstain.
Abstain. All right. Thank you. I'm not used to this role as running the meetings. Nicole always does a much better job than I. So with that successful vote, I will turn the meeting back over to the chair for the 24-25 school year, Nicole Chenier.
Thank you all. It's an honor to serve the Long Meadow Public Schools and the town in this role, and I look forward to the committee continuing to make progress on all of the goals that we've been working on the last few years. Appreciate everybody's efforts on that. We are headed into the next position, and I will accept a motion for vice chair of the school committee for the 24-25 school year.
I move that the school committee appoint Michaela Fitzgerald as vice chair of the school committee. For 25 school year.
We have a motion. I'm so sorry. Just hold on one second. I've lost our feed up here. I'm gonna see if we can get back so I can see the folks at home. One moment. A little spinning pinwheel that indicates they're coming back. There they are. All right, welcome back, guys. We have a motion from Julie for Michaela for vice chair. Do we have a second?
We have a second.
Thank you. Any discussion? And or other motions for the position? Seeing no discussion, we will move to a vote. Julie,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Adam,
Yay.
Michaela,
Abstained.
Zach,
Yes.
and yes for me as well. We have a vice chair. I would love to accept motions for a clerk of the school committee for the 2024-25 school year. Anyone have a motion to make for the position of clerk? Seeing no motions, I move to nominate Julie Morgan as clerk for the 24-25 school year. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
We have a second.
Sorry, I think that was Adam, and it sounded like you said I have a second, but we lost you for a second there. Can you repeat?
Yes. I reaffirm my seconding of said motion.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any other discussion and or any other nominations at this time? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. Julie,
Abstain.
Jamie,
Yes.
Adam,
Yay.
Michaela,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and yes for me as well. All right, we have a board in place. We are moving on to our next item on the agenda, which is correspondence. We have no correspondence at this time. Approval of minutes, we have a motion for the June 4th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I move that the school committee approve the minutes, to the June 4th, 2024 school committee meeting as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
We have a second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Julie,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Adam,
Yay.
Michaela,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and yes for me as well. Moving on, we have an option for public speak. We do not have any folks here in the room, and I do not see anyone online. We don't have anybody in the waiting room, so we will head right on to school committee announcements and recognitions. I just want to make a quick note that as many of us know, Mary Keene was reelected on the recent June 11th town election. She has since sent a letter to the town clerk, the superintendent, and myself, stating that she is unwilling to accept the position of school committee member and will not be able to take the oath of office due to health issues. So the next steps are outlined for us in, well, a few places. They're outlined on the town code, in our charter, and also in our policy BBBE that talk about what happens next. So we have that letter of resignation, or letter of non-acceptance that has been sent to the town clerk. We will be informing the select board of the vacancy within 30 days. And under the charter, the vacancy will be posted by the select board for 15 days. All interested applicants will apply through that application process. Once those applications are received, the select board and school committee will decide on a joint meeting date. We will give 1 week's notice of that joint meeting date, where we will interview all potential candidates. And then we wait at least 1 more week, but no more than 60 days after that last interview, and come back together again with 1 week's notice to make an appointment. More to follow on all of that once the next steps are taken, but the next step will be informing the select board in writing of that vacancy. And then we will work together with the select board and town officials to begin the process of filling the vacancy in the school committee. And again, reiterate our thanks and appreciation for all the work that Mary Keene has done in her years here on the committee. I have no other announcements. Do any other school committee members have any announcements or recognitions? Seeing none, we will keep going into the superintendent's reports and other administrative reports. I see a note that there are no reports. I'm guessing we might want to just quickly remind anybody at home that we're not aired live today. Then never mind, the meeting that is happening, there is an open forum on the middle school building project tonight at 7 o'clock over at the Adult Center. Any reports from other groups? LPVEC, Zach.
No report.
Energy and Sustainability, Adam.
No report.
And Seal, Michaela.
No report.
All right, subcommittee reports. We have a spot here for a finance subcommittee report because I know that we're still working on the food service contract. Is that still in a paused
Yeah,
place at the moment?
we should be prepared for our next meeting to bring that forward for consideration.
Okay, still working with Desi there. All right, there we go. Middle school building project. I have a note here for Dr. O'Shea to give an update on that process.
Certainly, thank you. We, as you indicated, we have a middle school building forum this evening at the Adult Center. Looking forward to that event. We've communicated it frequently to constituents. Hope we get a good crowd. Our design team and the administration will be represented along with our project manager. The next big milestone for us is the submission of a preferred schematic report at the end of August. So the MSBA has received our preliminary design proposal. They have provided us with some feedback and some requests for additional information. And as we work towards a preferred design, we will provide the MSBA with the feedback that they're interested in. So looking forward to tonight's forum. That's all.
All right, wonderful. That moves us into new business. Grade 3 at Wolf Swamp Road School. We'll open that. I think that's Dr. O'Shea, you again?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Thank you. This is for your consideration this evening. You will recall during the budget season that we had on the sort of the watch list the rising 3rd grade at Wolf Swamp. You'll recall that in January when we had presented a proposed budget, we were looking at a class size there of about 22 or 23 students per classroom. And so that's clearly on the high side of where we historically have been with our elementary class size. What the committee can consider tonight is whether to or not to reallocate a section from kindergarten at Wolf Swamp to the 3rd grade at Wolf Swamp. We're confident that the 4 sections that we have projected for kindergarten at Wolf Swamp will not be needed, and that we can run comfortably with 3 sections and 54 students. So we have the opportunity to address that lingering budget concern that the committee had, that the community had, if we were to reallocate that position from kindergarten at Wolf Swamp to 3rd grade at Wolf Swamp for the 24-25 school year. The end result would be that in kindergarten, we would have 17 or 18 students per section at Wolf Swamp, and at 3rd grade, we would lower the class size from 22 or 23 down to 16. So that's more in line with where we are at third grade at Blueberry and Center School. So that has our recommendation, but wanted to give the committee an opportunity to make that final decision.
I'll open up for discussion if there's anyone who has any thoughts related to that change.
And as you're preparing your thoughts, we did include an updated projected enrollment spreadsheet for you in your meeting packet.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was actually going to be there in person, but with the meeting change, it kind of threw me off a little bit today. So what, can you throw that up? I don't have, I can't really see that. That was going to be my question is what does it look like over there?
If you give me a minute, I'll pull that up for you.
Okay.
All right. How's that? Is that visible?
Yep. Perfect.
So you'll see that we have, class sizes, I'd say that are sort of fall within where we've been historically. The range is from 15 or 16 students at the K level. We also have a small third grade section at Blueberry. So anywhere from 15 or 16 students up to 21 or 22 across all schools, all grades.
Okay. So this is basically taking us from 23 potentially on average down to 16.
At that third grade at Wolf Swamp, correct?
Okay. Okay. Nope, I think it makes sense based on, what you had chatted about at the original budget meetings and the concerns around this and, the fact that there were big budgeting constraints. But if it loosened up in the kindergarten, that this is what you were going to do. I think you've mentioned that a couple of times at those meetings. So I think it makes tons of sense.
Other comments or feedback on that? I know this is an issue we looked at a few months ago. Do you need a vote, particularly on this tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think, so long as you give us the consensus, we can bring forward a budget amendment to move the money at a later date.
That
I
makes sense.
think we want to be able to move forward and post the positions to get somebody hired.
Okay. All right, any other concerns then or thoughts related to this? See if we can build some consensus one direction or another. It looks like if we kept 4 sections right now at the kindergarten, they would be 13, maybe 14 students per class. And this would move it up to 17 to 18 per class. Correct? Tom's
That's-
nodding.
yes.
Okay, and then moves the third grade group down in size. All right. Thoughts? All right, seeing no other discussion, if everybody is on board with that, we'll say post and we'll wait for a budget amendment at a future meeting.
Great, thank you.
All right,
Thank you so much.
next up, we have the school physician, Dr. Judith Tapper, sent a letter resigning from the school physician position that she has shared with Dr. Carrie Federico. We wish Dr. Tapper a lovely retirement, and Dr. Federico is interested in filling the full position. So we have a note here with her, just a reminder of her resume available to us in our packets, and a note that she would be happy to take on the full position on her own. And a possible motion if anyone is interested in making that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why do we have to vote on this one?
But so we appoint.
Yeah,
we
this
appoint
one
this.
it is required by statute, that school committees appoint, lead physicians and lead nurses for the district. Dr. Frederico is a Long Meadow resident and a Long Meadow parent, and has been a great resource to us along with, Dr. Tapper for a few years now, so.
All right. Any other questions related to that? Discussion and or motions?
I move on the recommendation of the superintendent that the school committee appoint Dr. Carrie Frederico as the district's school physician.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
We have a second.
Thank you. Any further discussion related to this? So just as a reminder, historically, this has been a one-person position. It's really only the last couple of years that it was a shared position as one person was heading out and another one was coming in. Now we're returning to a single person for this position, correct? Yes. All right, thank you. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Julie?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
And Adam?
Yes. Good.
And yes, for me as well. All right, next up is our meeting schedule. Let's tackle the calendar. So some possible meeting dates that are out there would be, July 6th. We typically tend to meet a little less frequently in the summer, once, maybe twice per month. So the suggested possible dates right now are July 16th, August 6th, and August 20th. We'll start there and see if any of those work for folks and or do not work. Let's begin with the first one. Does July 16th seem possible? If yes, and you're at home, do a little thumbs up symbol and or turn your camera on and thumbs up. I've got a yes from Jamie. I've got a yes from Julie. That works for me as well. Okay, and Zach is a yes as well.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, all right, July 16th it is. So that's the first one. The next one is August 6th. Do we have that as a possibility for folks? That's a yes for me as well. Julie is saying
Sounds
yes
good.
for her. Amy is a yes, Adam is a yes, Zach is a yes. All right, so we have enough consensus there. And the next up is August 20th. Yep, that works for me as well. Julie, yes. Zach is a yes. Jamie is a yes.
I don't know if I can make that one.
Okay, I think as long as we've got a good number of us, and right now we've got 5, so we're good. All right, so those are our dates for there, and then our first one in September begins the 10th, if I'm remembering correctly, right? Okay, so that'll give us another little pause there as we get our feet under us with the new school year. All right, next up, school committee assignments. So we don't have to do all of these tonight, and knowing that there is a middle school building forum beginning really soon, and that folks are heading over to that. If they can make it, what I'd like to do is make sure that we have a chance to review kind of what the different committees are, and also who has served in what committees over this past year. And then we do have a few that we need to appoint for the functioning of the board pretty much right away. So the ones that we have to make sure that we do in advance are, or in advance of a future meeting, are payroll, warrants, payable warrants. We also have to make sure that we have somebody for, I'm forgetting the other one. Warrants, payroll, LPVEC. And I would say that it would probably be a good idea to do middle school building as well, because they'll be meeting again before our July 16th meeting. So since those are in place, so we'll focus in on those for tonight, and then when we meet on the 16th, we can return to all of the other subcommittees, since they won't be meeting until after July 16th anyway. So we'll begin at the beginning. Warrants and payroll. They're often done by one person that has.
I have no problem continuing that. I usually have availability time wise to stop in there whenever odd times it's needed, so.
All right, perfect. Those are 2 separate motions, one to review and approve warrants and one for payroll sheets. If there's anybody who would like to make a motion to appoint someone to that?
Do we have a backup too, or?
Yes. Oh, who would like to do backup? I did that last year and I'm happy to do it again, but if somebody else would like to, they're welcome to as well. Okay,
I move that the school committee designate Jamie Hench to serve, to review and approve the warrants and to appoint Nicole Chenier as backup.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Julie,
Yes.
Jamie,
Abstain.
Zach,
Yes.
Michaela,
Yes.
Adam?
Yay.
And yes, for me as well. Next up is, one person to sign payroll sheets.
I move that the school committee authorize Jamie Hench to sign payroll sheets.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Julie,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jamie,
Abstain.
Michaela,
Yes.
Adam?
Yay.
And yes, for me as well. All right, next up, we have two appointments for the Lower Pioneer Valley Education Collaborative. There is in the packet a list of their meetings, calendar of their meetings for the next school year. There are two positions for that, the Board of Governors or Corporation that meets at 6 p.m. And the Board of Directors are a collaborative that meets at 6:30 p.m. I do see a note that says it can wait until later in the summer.
It can,
It
if you
can?
want. They don't meet over the summer,
Okay.
so if you wanna wait and just move on to.
Let's see what pans out then. Is there
Okay.
anybody who would like to say, like, I definitely want to do one of these for sure? Please nominate me now, and otherwise we can circle back to it on July 16th. All right, we'll circle back to it on July 16th. Sounds like a plan. Okay, next up is Middle School Building Committee. That does meet between now and July 16th, so I'd like to appoint that. We have had two, we need to have at least one, but we have had two. Myself and Julie have been doing it for the last 2 years, right? Did we do last year and the year before? No, I'm not remembering.
For as long as we've done
As
it.
long as we've had one, we've been doing it. I'm still happy to do it,
I'm happy
if
to
you're
do
still
it.
happy to do it, but if anybody else is like, I would really like to try that out, and jump in there, then happy to support that as well. If there's anybody who would like to make a motion related to Middle School Building Committee, or anybody who would like to tag in for that.
You don't need a motion.
Oh, we don't need a motion for that?
No, 'cause
Oh,
we
yeah,
get-
that's right.
we get
It's
a point.
just okay. Okay. Seeing nobody else raising a hand at home, everybody seems like they are on board with Julie and I continuing. Okay, then I will appoint myself, which is a weird sentence to say, and Julie to continue with Middle School Building Committee. And, okay, did we do the ones we have to do then?
Yes.
We're good for now. Okay, so reminders, that all of the other committees are left for next time. So next meeting, we will be appointing, for Lower Pioneer Valley Corporation and Lower Pioneer Valley, collaborative position. So that's two of those. People who served in that last year were Zach and Mary. So if you have questions about them, you can reach out to Dr. O'Shea, you can reach out to Diane, myself, or Zach, to find out a little bit more about that. We will also redo appointments for Energy and Sustainability and SEAL. Those were Adam and Michaela respectively last year. If anybody's potentially interested in those and would like to know more information, same folks, but reach out also to Adam or Michaela to find out more. And then we'll have our regular subcommittee appointments as well, finance, policy, negotiations, evaluation, curriculum. I think that's all for this here, yes, at the moment, and a couple of appointments as representatives to different schools. So look over the information available about all of those different subcommittee roles. If you have questions about any of them, reach out to folks in the interim, and then we'll go forward on the 16th. Yes, Julie.
Are you trying to fill the slots that Mary occupied and then reassign later, or do we?
No, I think that we will start with the blank slate for appointing folks.
Oh, but I mean, I guess I mean, would we be filling 3 slots, like filling all the slots
Yes,
and then reappointing?
Correct. So for example, for curriculum last year, it was Mary, me and Michaela. Mary will not be able to be here, but that doesn't mean that Michaela and I have to be. We might want to, but if somebody else wanted to jump in, then there could be 3 completely different people. Or there could be 1 new person and 2 people who've done it, or any configuration thereof.
I guess the reason I'm asking is because while we're down a person, then
Yes.
people take on additional assignments, but then you'll reassign them later.
Yes, so we have to have for each subcommittee at least 2 people in order to be functioning. So if we have a subcommittee that we don't get a 3rd person for yet, that's okay. That will almost certainly happen. And that's okay. Because when we have our new member seated at some point in the next few months, they will be able to jump into those open spaces. So as long as each subcommittee has 2 people, that will be their quorum and they'll be able to meet as needed. And over the summer, it tends to be pretty quiet, so hopefully that will be a little bit easier as well. All right, any other questions? Okay, so we have no executive session and look at us ending with time for everybody to get over to the middle school building forum if they're able to. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that the school committee adjourn the June 18th meeting.
Second,
Thank you. Any discussion?
not I, said the pig.
Seeing none, we move to a vote. Julie?
Yes.
I gotta take some water out to water the plant.
Is that
You
me?
can take 'em.
Yeah,
Adam, yep. Zach,
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
And yes, for me as well. Thank you. Wonderful
Keep putting them in the
schedule.
back.
See you again on the 16th.